Hello everyone, this is Richard. Welcome to another edition of Starfield Essentials. In this video, I will show how I updated my Starfield mods on Steam and PC using Nexus Mods and Vortex. Here I have the Nexus Mods Vortex interface, and I'm going to check for updates. Now, I had already run this once before, so the updates were already found. So when it reports that there are no updates, that's what's happening here. But the very first thing you would do is simply say check for updates. And when you run that, you'll get a number that comes back, some count. In my case, when I first ran it, I think there were 9 updates that were found. And as you scroll through, you'll see that there are updates in orange. And there's no way to simply update all of these at once. You have to go one by one. Now, what I like to do is try to update what I would consider the more core mods first, rather than sort of the more quality of life type mods. So I look for mods like the address library or other core utilities, and I update those first. I also pay attention to any notes that might be attached in case the developer had something that we needed to know. So for example, I'm starting here with the Starfield script extender. And when you click on the link, it takes you to the Nexus mod page where you have to download the mod again. And once it downloads, it will open again in Nexus Mods. I chose here and in all my later cases to update all profiles as opposed to simply updating the current profile. If anyone has any suggestions on whether that's good or bad, please feel free to leave a comment. And this is the basic process that you'll have to follow for every mod. Each time you encounter a mod that has a new version, you will click on it and you'll be taken out to the Nexus Mods website where you will download the latest version and it will go back into Nexus Mods and it will install it. So for example, here I'm installing the new address library for Starfield. This is another one of those, what I would consider to be a core mod that a lot of other mods depend upon, and update that one. Now for all the mods that follow, I'm going to do the exact same process, and I'm going to accelerate the video so you don't have to sit and watch me clicking the same thing over and over again. Now, I had to take a pause here because this show star names was still listing 1.5 as the version. And that little icon meant I had to make some sort of a choice when I was updating this mod. So I went out to the page and I poked around and I tried to see what the story was. I believe that 1.5 was already installed and the latest version of this was newer. I thought it was either 1.6 or 1.7. And by taking a look at what was listed on the posts, which I highly recommend, I could see that I needed to make a choice about the FPS that would be involved with this particular mod, as well as whether I wanted the star systems that were displayed to show colors according to level. Now, I have a really old potato laptop that I'm using to run these mods, so 30 FPS is fine for me. And as far as showing the star system names according to the level, red is a higher level, I like that. So I did a manual download of this mod. It'll pop up in Nexus Mods shortly, and then it will give me a choice regarding FPS and level colors. So I left the default as 30 FPS and I turned on the level colors, and that took care of the issue for me. So you'll see that when it finishes, the mod is updated and it is ready to go. And I'm taking a look at the notes just to make sure that there's nothing I might have missed. So now show star names as listed as version 1.7 as I had hoped for. I ended up with 2 versions of this mod installed, the 1.5 and 1.7. So I was simply able to disable the 1.5 and leave 1.7 as the default and the enabled version. Next, I took a look at the load order of my mods, and I made sure that the Starfield community patch was still at the top. Didn't really expect this to change, but it's always a good idea to check this out before you start to play the game. I decided to try starting Starfield from within Vortex to see what would happen, and I got a warning showing that the mods were not compatible with the version that I had installed in Steam. So I realized I needed to be careful of how I proceeded here. I wanted to start the game in Steam, but I didn't want to play the game in Steam because in order to use mods properly, at least from my understanding, you need to start the game from within Vortex. I need to actually run Starfield using the Starfield script extender, which is not active when you start Starfield using Steam. Now, I had previously set for Steam the only update this game when I launch it feature. That's what allowed me to play Starfield using an older version when the newer version had already arrived on the 30th of January. Because I was launching Starfield from within Vortex using SFSE, I never had this issue of downloading the newest version of Starfield upon launch. So what's happening now is Starfield is downloading the updates that it needs, and when it finishes, I am not going to let it run. That's why I've paused it here. And so I will simply skip to the part where it is ready to go. At this point, Starfield is patching, and I'm going to show you the setting I have to only update this game when I launch it. That's how I was able to play it previously without having to worry about incompatibilities. But with the game ready to go, I will now launch it. However, I will not do that inside Steam. I will do that in Vortex. And within Vortex, I'll start the game and I'll get a little warning about my graphics drivers being out of date. And then I'll have to wait a few minutes, or maybe not minutes, but a few moments before the game is ready to go. Now, I've had to wait for building shaders to complete. This actually took a few minutes on this system because it's pretty old. But once that was done, I was in a position where I could actually launch the game. Now I'm ready to start the game, so I'll press any button and I'll get presented with a EULA. I don't have to read the whole thing, I just have to press A to accept it. And the next thing I'll do is try loading an old game. Now, prior to this tutorial, I had removed the Astroneer mod and the leveled mission rewards mod, and so the game was telling me that level mission rewards was no longer available, which is fine. I'm not using it in this particular play, so it's not a problem. So the question is, will everything work once I get the system started? I'm going to do a quick check here and see if one of the mods I have installed works. It's the mod called The Gang's All Here, and in my inventory under weapons I have a follower control slate. And with that mod, I'm able to bring, well, there's a lot of things you can do with it, but one of the tasks you can do is to bring a companion to you. So Marika is already with me. I'm going to have Vasco teleport to me, and if he appears, then we know this mod is working properly. At this point, because I can simply access the mod, I'm pretty sure it's working, but this is a good way just to do a pretty simple test. And when I get out of the menu here, we'll see if Vasco has appeared, and there he is, in the same room as Marika in the lodge. By the way, the Gang's All Here mod is great. When you have many more followers, it's a lot of fun to have them all with you going out on a mission. The other check I'm doing in the basement of the lodge is to see if the legendary module recycler is in place, and it is. And I can see off in the corner as well, I have a few other devices that are only there because of mods, so I'm pretty happy that this worked out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to just sort of document what I did in order to update the mods on Starfield. And if you like this content, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you in Starfield.